Yeah, I know I did Jason Voorhees last year, but I'm playing a game about zombies, and this is a very comfy mask. It's a very convenient costume.
Let's get something out of the way. I know nothing about The Walking Dead. Never watched it, don't currently have plans to watch it. I know that it's that thing that everyone knows Norman Reedus and Michael Rooker from, and I know that its finale wasn't really a finale because AMC is bent on running the property into the ground, and that's it.
I did have a foam sword licensed on the show from a Spirit Halloween, but then I got a steel sword from V-Stock, and honest to crap, I don't even know where the foam sword is anymore.
But alas, I am talking dead anyway because the series has some freaking terrible tie-in video games, including 2013's The Walking Dead Survival Instinct. This was the final game made by developer Terminal Reality, and death knell games are always a good sign. But Terminal Reality also made Kinect Star Wars, so at least there's a non-zero chance that Norman Reedus dances to Raiden solo. The game begins with a tutorial as you play as a hunter tracking a deer prior to the zombie outbreak, since the game is a prequel to the show. As soon as you find the deer, zombies attack, and you die. Okay, so what was the point of that? Literally all I was told about the gameplay there is that you're silent while crouching and hold the left trigger to iron sight aim, which I think everyone already knew. The only other useful information I got from this stage is that the game's plastered with invisible walls. I take it that jumping will not be a particularly useful skill on this adventure. The actual game has you play as Daryl Dixon, one of the show's leads played and voiced by Norman Reedus, who is forced to leave his cabin in the woods to go find supplies or— God damn, I broke my hand! Oh, that wasn't smart! It's really disorienting, though, because the character models look like they've aged several years from the prologue, but all of the interactions will imply that we're only a week or two into the zombie apocalypse. We get another tutorial before we head out, as Survival Instinct is presented very much as a stealth game. You're encouraged to sneak up on enemies for silent takedowns, throw bottles for noise distractions to avoid combat, and to only use guns as an absolute last resort. The logic following the shows in that any loud noise will just attract all the zombies to your location. Also, much like the show, only blows to a zombie's head are actually effective. It is possible to hack an enemy's limbs off, but the few times I tried, it barely seemed to do anything. You're given a knife to fight the zombies in melee, but the melee combat sucks. Your knife attacks do basically zero damage unless you charge every single hit, and even fully charged melee blows take 3 hits to down a single enemy. There's also piss-annoying timing to the melee combat, since you can't hold a charged shot indefinitely like you can in every other game. So basically, you have 4 options around the enemies. Throw extremely limited items, use stealth that's not always available, use guns and get yourself killed, or use painfully slow button holds to slowly stab every enemy to death, one at a time. Those are all your combat options. This is gonna suck. The game's tutorial is missing some key info, by the way. It doesn't give you any advice on enemy behavior, explain the differences between bladed or blunt or heavy weapons, or tell you how to use items, equip weapons, or manage your inventory. It tells you what maybe half the buttons do, and then you're on your own, jackass! Alright, Daryl and old guy who already looks half dead head out to warn people about the zombies. Yeah, thanks for that. And on your way to the next level, you're introduced to the fuel mechanic. Every time you head to a new mission, you're given the option of taking the highway, the streets, or the back roads. Highways use less fuel, but back roads will give random side areas where you can scavenge up supplies. Supplies like the fuel that you burned to go looking for supplies. Taking back roads seems like an extraordinarily stupid idea, given that you are explicitly warned that running out of fuel kills you! But I guess I have to try it.
Merle, he's just not right.
What you say to me, old man?
Yeah?
That's 10 times a man you are.
All right.
Okay.
Just seems you boys turn hay into shit when you're together.
No side missions popped up. I wasted gas for nothing. Alright, the first level is a small town where you're looking for gas to fuel up your car for the rest of the journey.
If there's any gas, it'll be at Lucky's.
Yeah, we could try the gas station, or, and just hear me out here, we could try the big-ass fuel tanker mere feet away from the level entrance. I don't know. Kinda seems like the safer option. You sneak over to the gas station in town and a guy tells you to find Uncle Lester, who took the generator keys to the trailer park and never came back. Uncle Lester was kind of an idiot, I take it. The one good thing I'll give the game is that you have a compass that points directly to your next objective at all times, and it's never confusing about the directions. Part of that's because the levels are painfully linear, but I'll take what I can get. It's also nice that the flashlight doesn't ever run out of juice when most video game flashlights die after about 2 minutes. And your weapons don't degrade at all over time because the game also understands that steel knives and pipes have more integrity than paper mache! Alright, so I sneak around the trailer park murdering all the redneck zombies until I get to Uncle Lester, who's the only unique boss kind of zombie that I ran into all game. How friggin' sad is that? I grab the keys and... oh god. Oh god, don't tell me that's the generator that I need to break into. There's like a dozen zombies in there! Where the hell did all these friggin' zombies come from? I was quiet! Crapalula, how the hell are you expected to find this many zombies with a knife that barely tickles them? Well, I'm dead. And now I have to clear out the trailer park of zombies again because the game is incredibly stingy with its checkpoints. It only drops one after you've made progress on an objective, and apparently grabbing the objective does not count. Oh, and that reminds me, never turn off the game in mid-level or you lose all your checkpoints entirely. Okay, got the keys. Somehow the keys are magic and summon zombies. And I swear there are even more zombies than when I tried this the last time. We go again. Clear out the trailer park of redneck zombies again. Might as well try the gun. I've got nothing else to lose. And even with a gun, the early game weapons fire so slowly that they border on being useless. Anyway. Shart. Yeah, you've probably noticed the zombies getting in my face by now. This is what the game calls the grapple. If a zombie is close enough to you for a few seconds, it'll grab you and launch a little minigame where you wrestle the cursor onto the zombie's face and press the right trigger to kill it. And then repeat this for every zombie that's glommed onto you, because they will converge on your position about a dozen or so at a time. I understand that this is a survival game and it's not supposed to be easy to massacre enemies, but the grapple mechanic is still broken and bugged to high heaven. The minigame has tons of lag. It will reject correctly timed button presses. The cursor will continue juking in unpredictable directions even if you hold the stick correctly. It's intentionally rigged to get you killed. I know that there are clips online of players abusing the grapple to insta-kill entire hordes of zombies, but I was only able to manage that once on a small group. Everywhere else, this simple minigame just refused to cooperate with anything that I did. So am I just stuck on the first level because I don't have any good weapons? Well, here's what you do. If you fully explore a supermarket at the start of the level, you'll find a case of food. Then if you fully explore a police station off to the side of the main road, eventually you'll find a survivor who will trade that otherwise useless food for 20 rounds of rifle ammo. If that is, you remember to actually manually pick up the ammo, which I didn't know on my first run and had to restart the level. Oh, and you can also find a revolver as well as batteries in the police station, backtrack to the supermarket, and trade the batteries to rescue a sheriff who doesn't do crap. And you should also explore the police station for the hysterical graphical goofs. From shadows so cheaply done that it just looks like a second black zombie is behind the first one, to zombies floating because they couldn't do stairs. I don't know, guys. The floating dead just doesn't have the same ring to it. The levitating dead, we're getting nowhere. Okay, I'm back at the trailer park. I'm armed for battle. I am ready to take on the world, and I was too distracted by the zombies to notice that the objective specifically tells you to go back to the gas station. The generator keys that you found next to the big-ass generator are not used at the big-ass generator. Well, I think it's time I tried out a bold new tactic for handling this horde of zombies.
Run away! Run away! Run away!
Yeah, it turns out calling it The Walking Dead was a bit of a clue. It is piss easy to just run away from the zombies and they'll eventually just give up on chasing you. That's the kind of thing that a tutorial might bother to tell you, but hey, at least now I know. You get back to the generator, you grab your fuel, but the noise attracts all the zombies, so you have to book it back to the level entrance. Easy peasy, I can handle this. I took a wrong turn, and now I am buried under about 20 zombies. Fuck. Alright, take two. I made the turn into the store this time, and now I can hit a hallway that's blocked with zombies with absolutely no way past. Double fuck! Okay, take three. Pack some heat going into the store, clear out the death hallway, we're home free! The front of the store is now entirely made of zombies that I have no hope of fighting. What the hell? Like, this isn't me being stupid. I'm pretty sure this store is the only way to the exit. Maybe there's a way to get around all... Huh? Okay, I didn't do anything differently, but on my fourth playthrough, the store is empty. That impenetrable horde of zombies is just gone. And here's where I learned the grand truth of The Walking Dead survival instinct. The entire game runs on RNG. Yeah, pretty much everything in this game is randomized. You can typically count on certain kinds of items to spawn in a few specific places, but the number of items, the number and placement of the enemies, all made up on the spot. This zombie that I found patrolling near the entrance to the trailer park, yeah, I died and respawned. He was gone. Even game-critical story events are randomized, as you can tell from the store that's sometimes just rigged to unavoidably kill you. Hell, that side quest to trade food for some rifle ammo, the amount of ammo that you get for that quest is itself randomized. Sometimes I got 10 rounds, sometimes I got 20. Well, you know the old saying, if at first you don't succeed, hope the random number generator doesn't screw you the next time! But I'm finally out of this damn town. It took me well over an hour to beat the first level. Short in a heart! And we're still not done because I have 3 survivors, but only 2 spots in my car. The game has a mechanic where you can rescue a party of characters and then send them out to scavenge resources while you're in the main levels, but the number of survivors you can carry depends on your vehicle, and I never found one that carried more than 3. Well, the half-dead guy is plot critical and you have to take him along, so I can only pick one. I think I'll dismiss the sheriff. I figure he's got the best odds out on his own. Surely this decision won't come back to haunt me later. I tried taking the back roads to reach the next level, and hey, I actually got a scavenging mission this time. I wandered a small map picking up items, and what did I find? 9 bullets, 2 health packs, and a survivor that I can't take with me anyway. Not sure that was worth it. The car breaks down. As a story event, it will break down on accident later. And I send my survivors to find fuel while I go look for a new vehicle in the dead of night to where I can barely see Jack. You're sent to find a ranger station by a cop that hands you a shotgun. And bitch, I know that shotgun is a friggin' death trap! This is a blessedly short level of just sneaking through some campgrounds, exploring a hut for some keys, and then running for the end. It only took me 15 minutes, and that was with stopping to kill all the zombies and to scavenge for resources. So this is how the game works when you don't suck at it. The half-dead looking guy turns into a zombie and you leave, so I lost 1 survivor, but I still have... My last survivor came back with a pathetic 5 fuel and practically dead. The group risk was down to 15%! How did you do this badly? Yeah, the entire mechanic of managing your survivors is pretty much a complete waste of time. No matter how well you arrange or equip your group, they will always return with piss-poor health and practically 0 resources to show for it. And they don't heal at all over time. You have to blow multiples of your own health packs to heal them back up when they take damage, meaning they perpetually eat up more resources than they bring in. You are vastly better off just leaving them at the car so you don't have to deal with any of their bullshit. The next story mission, you're in a town called Fontana to find Michael Rooker. Daryl's brother Merle. You have to go through a town square to reach a bar with a lead, and I spent 11 minutes trying to kill all the zombies in the town square, tediously stabbing them to death one by one, but new zombies kept spawning and they wouldn't stop spawning. And then I died because the bar has about 7 zombies in a confined space, and I got sent back to start and have to clear the damn square again. So in a pure guess that actually worked, I just ran past all the zombies to the bar and shut the door behind me. 11 minutes of work outdone by 11 seconds of walking. And yeah, we need to talk about my biggest bugbear with this game, because the only thing worse than a stealth-oriented survival game is a stealth-oriented survival game that cheats. I understand that it's a deliberate gameplay mechanic that if you use the guns, the game will spawn new enemies to fit in with the show's rules. That's fine, I get that. But even if you're quiet, even if you fight using nothing but executions and melee weapons like the game wants, it will still spawn new enemies out of thin air, non-friggin' stop! You will constantly turn around and a new zombie has just magically appeared even if you looked 2 seconds ago and the place was empty. You'll be in an area that you've already scoured and only has 1 zombie, but the second you kill it, 2 new ones are suddenly attacking you. If you're really unlucky, and trust me, you are, the game will spawn new enemies, plural, mere feet behind you without notice. Hell, I've even caught zombies that already exist teleporting if my back was turned. You petty bitch game! And in a survival game where basically any damage costs you valuable healing items, the fact that you can get jumped and hemorrhage health anytime the game gets bored? Yeah, that's a problem! It got to the point where just on instinct, every time I landed a kill or an execution, I'd whirl around to make sure the game hadn't spawned a new enemy when I wasn't looking. It's seriously that pervasive an issue that you constantly need to check that you aren't getting screwed. Anyway, there's a lady working for a survivors group at the diner, and if you check in on her friend and fight a horde of zombies, then you get a less shitty car as a reward. And how in the hell is it that a small sedan is capable of carrying the same inventory and way more passengers than a truck twice its size? You find Merle. This is another short-ass level if you run past the zombies and ignore the side quest. But now I've got a new problem. I'm almost out of fuel. I haven't been finding any fuel in the levels, and not for lack of trying. I search everywhere. Pretty sure it doesn't matter which mission I choose. This whole game just blends together into a stew anyway. I'm forced to stop on the highway because the car's battery died. So that survivor bitch gave me a lemon to add insult to injury. I found just barely enough fuel to take me to the next level. I guess this next mission will have to send my survivors out to find gas, or else I'm going to... 60% risk? I gave both of you your favorite weapons! Shit! I fought through a militia camp that isn't too keen to share their supplies, and if you thought the game would have some human enemies mixed in and turn into a shooter with all those guns you have, yeah, dream on. The militia all dies off screen so that you can get back to fighting the one enemy type that they have for the entire game. Yes, tremble in fear of the zombies walking directly into saw blades, actively trying to kill themselves. The most diabolical of all enemies. I'm still screwed though because that level still didn't have any fuel. I just have to hope that my survivors finally came through for me. 4 fuel and empty health bars. Useless bags of dicks. My car breaks down again from a tire blowout. Oh look, it's the same map as the last time that I broke down. I look all over, I scavenged 2 bullets and 1 millimeter of gas. That's it! And yeah, I'm completely out of fuel and I can't continue. So the game spawned a level with all the gas I need. What? Yeah, Even though the game explicitly warns you that running out of gas kills you, it doesn't. Running out of gas just forces the game to give you more. It spawns a scavenging level that's hard-coded to drop enough gas for you to continue the game. So what the hell is the point of even having fuel if it's effectively unlimited? Oh, you have to fight your way through an extra scavenge level of zombies every time you run out of gas. Yeah, and guess what? Those scavenge missions are easy as piss. Every time that the game stops you for gas, a breakdown, or gives you the chance to scavenge items, it brings up a map that is trivial to traverse. You can get through every last one of these side levels with a melee weapon and no healing items with zero difficulties whatsoever. The game is gift wrapping you resources for free. I spent the entire back half of the game swimming in ammo and medkits to where I started getting into fights just to clear up the inventory space. I don't believe this. The game was so rushed that they couldn't balance the survival gameplay at all, so they give you infinite crap as long as you're willing to farm for it. Oh, and the balancing of the different melee weapons, that's pointless too. I found a hatchet and a hammer that seemed to be exactly the same as the knife, and now I have a machete that's better than the knife in every conceivable way. But you can't drop the knife, so the crappy starter weapon just sits there clogging up your inventory. Probably because it's the only weapon where they could bother to make execution animations. Call me crazy, but I think the game may have been rushed between copy-pasted levels and useless everything! Merle forces you to get a new car to throw off the militia, so you go to a drive-through theater and rescue an old lady's cat. This is where I figured out that sound doesn't work the way the game thinks it does, because you can turn on radios in the house or all the speakers in the theater to distract the zombies. All it ever seems to do is directly alert them to your location. And because of Merle making me switch cars, I have one less seat and need to throw away another survivor. But again, I'm sure this won't bite me in the ass later. You run around a town setting up fireworks to distract the zombies away from Merle's gang, and then you fight to a bar to meet them. Well, you fight your way to the bar if you're stupid. I just walked there. Merle's gang is a bunch of dicks, and they steal your inventory because the game wants to force you to use a new weapon, the crossbow. Yeah, Daryl is known for using a crossbow in the show, and the big secret backstory to that crossbow is that he had it when he was young, and Merle held on to it for him. That's it.
Don't be that way. Look, I kept that crossbow of yours.
Man, you just don't get it, do you?
This thing is stupidly overpowered. Basically a fully silenced sniper rifle with shots that you can retrieve so that it has unlimited ammo. And again, you don't actually fight the bikers for something different. They all just die off screen so that you can get all your shit back. Michael Rooker's out of the game now, by the way. Merle just disappears and you leave without him. Oh, my car broke down again! I don't want to know what kind of shit cars the game's developers drive if you can't go one trip down a highway without breaking down. I need to find coolant, and the coolant randomly spawned about 5 seconds away from the level entrance. Dumbass! Finally, a plot starts to form as you hear about an evacuation that I'm sure will go swimmingly since this is a prequel to a show that ran 11 seasons. There's a brief detour to a medical center so that Survivor Lady from earlier can reconnect with her dad, and so we can have a brief science lab level that rips off Resident Evil. I'm plowing through a lot of game here. The levels are short as balls, and it's just the same encounters over and over. Except now I have a fire axe that has great range, kills in 2 regular hits, and doesn't feel any slower than the knife did. Were they even trying to balance the different weapons? And I know we waved goodbye to effort a long time ago when all the breakdown levels used the same map, but what is a supermarket shelf complete with price tags doing in a home garage? You come to a little neighborhood where you need to figure out where the evacuation is happening. This level sucks. For pretty much the first time all game, the compass disappears to where you have to thoroughly explore a series of houses trying to guess what to do. If I weren't wielding Stormbreaker and packing more health and guns than I know what to do with, I'd be pissed off. You want the second house on the right. I began exploring on the left, so I was just boned. Oh, and it turns out that whole don't use guns because they attract zombies thing is more of a guideline, since I started gunning down zombies in the square out of impatience and nobody seemed to care. The level devolves into fetch quests. This lady sends you across the street to look for a husband. Instead, you find an old guy asking you to pick up meds for his zombie wife, but the husband and pills are down a long road in a nearby town. You get the meds, take the meds back, and near as I can tell, get 0 rewards for that side quest. The husband left a bag at the shop that you have to grab and then take it back to him, and then go back to town to pick up the wife. Except now the town is overrun with zombies, and the game doesn't tell you that you're basically picking which of the two to rescue. And I ended up with the old man by accident, so the wife dies. And now this damned old man is mandatorily eating a seat in my car, so I have to pitch another survivor. The final level of the game is the evacuation at a big stadium, and right as the level starts, it hands you an assault rifle and a huge stack of ammo to plow through the hordes of zombies. You'd think this is where the game gets kinda cool. You can finally play it as a shooter, massacring all the enemies, but not really. The game's random zombie generator cranks into overdrive to where if you make a single wrong turn, and you will, the game crams about 1,000 zombies up your ass at once, and you just die. And the first time I tried this stage, the game handed me 120 extra rounds of ammo. The second time it only gave me 90. Even the end game runs on RNG. And those extra 30 shots probably would have come in handy when you get to the second part of the level. A maze of tents that everywhere I go, I get mobbed and killed. Eventually, I figured out that this level with bumping action music where you're strapped with a huge gun, you're meant to use stealth here, or else infinite zombies swarm and kill you. What the hell were they even thinking? What? So there is more assault rifle ammo in a maze where you can easily miss it. Merle shows up because they had Michael Rooker in the recording booth for another few seconds, and he brings an army truck where you invincibly mow down zombies with a mounted turret for a few minutes, and that's your final boss. Yeah, that's the best they got. Merle stops Daryl from getting to the chopper because he thinks the pilot's infected, and they drive off, and the game ends. And that's the story of how Daryl Dixon drove aimlessly to Atlanta, where the show started, accomplishing basically nothing along the way. Yippee. So you know how I've been bitching all video that the game constantly forces you to throw away survivors for no reason? Yeah. Those survivors are unlockables. Once you've beaten the campaign, you'll unlock upgrades that you can use for a new Game Plus mode, and the upgrades that you'll unlock are tied to which survivors you brought to the end game. The game tells you none of this, by the way. You only find out that a new Game Plus is a thing if you think to yourself, man, that game sucked! Let's do it again! So what upgrades can I use for a new Game Plus? Well, I can just start with the grossly overpowered crossbow. I can have bigger gun magazines, which does nothing because you're still limited by ammo pickups. I can get stronger healing items, along with better distraction items that I never used because I didn't need them or have the space. Or better accuracy with the guns that already have pretty much pinpoint accuracy. Yeah, that crossbow is the only good one. So basically the survivors are just a cheap way to force you to play the short-ass game multiple times to get your money's worth, except you can only equip one upgrade per playthrough. So the grind is just north of useless. Actually, you need to farm all the New Game Plus upgrades to get the infinite ammo upgrade, which is still useless because you don't get good guns until the back half of the game, which means The Walking Dead survival instinct is bad. It fumbles pretty much everything that it sets out to do. At its best, it's a mediocre stealth action game, but the stealth is crap since there's not much stopping you from just running past all the enemies, to the point it's possible to clear the game in under 3 hours. And the action falls apart because all but the most tedious forms of combat are rigged to be completely suicidal. Some brief sequences where the game becomes a crappy shooter are the best you get. Everything else the game tries to do is completely pointless and botched. The survivors are useless because they die easy and don't do anything. Resource management is useless because it's trivial to stockpile items. Weapons aren't balanced, vehicles are all the same, the grapple move is broken, environmental implements don't work, the game freaking gives up on having side quests, and the entire mess is strung along a completely non-existent story. And this is all after you've even figured out how to play the damn thing in the first place, which can be frustrating unto itself. I can't really think of anything the game does well, so yeah, I totally get why this game cracked so many worst of 2013 lists. And then 10 years later, history repeated itself.
Yes, you knew it was coming. We did Gollum. We did Rise of Kong. Tune in next time for the third member of 2023's triumvirate of worst games, The Walking Dead Destinies.
Eat, shit, and live to savor the taste on your palate.